Hello, viewers out there. Welcome to another exciting episode of Agribusiness Talk with Dr. Peter Daniel. Again, I'm your host, and I'm here to discuss um, how you can source for credit for your agribusiness enterprise. We call it credit in agri because it's both in it can be kind and can also be in cash. So, when we use the word credit in agribusiness, we're talking about both cash and probably inputs, which is the kind now. So in this episode, what I'll be doing, I will delve into the nitty gritty of what you need to know and how you need to go about sourcing funds and give some example of where you can get some funds. Then I also talk about how you can manage your funds. So I'll talk about the importance of credit for your business. I'll talk about the sources of credit for your business. I'll talk about the requirements you may need in assessing some of these credits. I'll talk about how you can manage your repayment plan. And I'll talk about how you can navigate your way out of borrowing for investment subsequently. Then give some financial tips, excuse me, some financial tips and the next steps you can take in your agribusiness. When we try in every episode to give you action step that you can immediately adapt, and implement for your business. So whether you are a Nigerian youth or you are a retiree from government space or you are in diaspora or you're a foreigner, you're looking into investing in agri space and you're looking at how you can get funds or credit for your business, this video is a video to watch. So I will encourage you to watch patiently till the end as I will share practical things, what I'm bringing to you, combined 8 years of experience from the field that you can use. All right. So quickly, what are the importance of finances for your business? Now, we can overemphasize this because we know that when you come into business, every business, just like agribusiness, we have like every other business. Agribusiness is also a business in the environment of business, in environment in business. And although it has an environment of its own, but it's not alien. It's also in the world. It's also in Nigeria, as it were. And finance helps to expand your business. Funds, credit, money helps to expand your business. If you have a knack for expansion, when you have more money, you can do more. If you have more money, you can invest more, probably in inputs. You can invest more probably in machinery. You can acquire more land. And the whole chain of agribusiness we're talking about the whole value chain, both those in the production, those in processing, those in marketing, those in input dealership, those in supplies, those in transportation. You all require money one way or the other. And these credits or these funds or these finances can help you expand, can help you jumpstart a particular product, can help you even be the venture capital you need. So it depends on what stage of the business. If you're at the beginner stage, if you're at the growing stage, or if you have already stabilized and you're looking at expansion. So funds comes in to help one way or the other. So it's very important you get funds for when it comes to expansion. Excuse me, please. Now, what are the sources of funds in agribusiness? Now, let me quickly start from you as the investor. You can get funds from your savings. Now, it is good if you can access funds that are not having interest in the long run, because if you have to be servicing interest, it will put that debt burden on your business. So let's look inward. Let's look at the source of funds that are interest free. Let's see how we can tap into that before we now talk to the ones that have interest. So let's talk to savings. Savings is equal to investment. It's just a cliche. We just know that. So if you have, if savings are your personal money, money you stored either in your bank, or maybe you saved it in assets, or maybe you saved it in some easy, what they call it, working capital. you can have savings in those various funds. But these are funds or finances that you have kept for yourself. You have you have saved it instead of spending from your maybe from excess. You kept it for some time. Now you can now look applying it back into agribusiness. You can look applying back into a particular enterprise or a particular value chain in the agribusiness. So these are your personal money. You don't need to pay interest on that. It belongs to you, and you can use it judicially for agribusiness. Number two is from friends and family. You can always take advantage of a good network. If you have good networks of friends around you that can see into your vision in agribusiness and lend you money or borrow you money without any interest, so you can borrow from them without any interest accrued to it. Or even if there's an interest, it will be a negotiable rate that is favorable for you. The repayment condition will also be favorable, you know. So you can look into getting funds from your friends, from your network around, maybe business colleagues, maybe work colleagues, maybe your bosom friends, then from maybe your brothers, relatives, maybe your parents, maybe your mother, maybe your uncle. You can look into tapping into all those network for funds for your agribusiness. Another place you can also get money is from partnership. You can get someone to go into the business with you, partnership. For instance, you have an agribusiness venture you want to go into, and you will need like £1 million to start. By the time you get another person to come together to join you, you become two. So what you are now looking for is 500,000. When you are now three, what you'll be looking for be like a figure of like 350 or 325,000, right? So that way, it cuts the money you're looking for, and you are getting this money for the same business without added interest. Now, to do that, you may need the legal practitioner to help you so that you do all the documentation around your partnership. You can also do crowdfunding. So you have the business you want to do. You can now look at people from your network that will be interested in investing. So they will invest to get their investment and probably a little margin, a markup margin at a given time. So they are also informed of the risk that is involved. That way, there is no interest you are paying. But so aside from your savings or borrowing from friends and family, the other method that are non-interest, that is partnership, crowdfunding, may involve you sharing some part of your profits when you harvest or when you have your produce or products. Now, another way you can get funds that are non-interest based is through grants. You can apply for grants. There are agricultural grants, a lot of them in Africa and in Nigeria. You can look at those grants in the ton, some up to $1,000, some even more, 2,000, 5,000, 10,000, $100,000, and you apply for them. A grant funds you get that you're not paying back. But of course, the disbursement will be monitored, and it will be maybe milestone driven or achievement driven as a grant. You can also get non-interest finance through competition. There may be business plan competition, maybe some competition, maybe agri fair. So you go and you register and you're part of the competition. Then probably there's a prize money. At the end of the day, once you get your prize money, you put it into your agri business investment. Now, this works for all the value chain, whether you're in production, whether you're in processing, marketing, whichever part of the value chain you're in, it works for you. Now, another way you can also get money that may be non-interest is probably if you have an angel investor, or yeah, let's call him an angel investor, someone that you can pitch your business to, pitch your agribusiness to, and is interested in it, and he comes and give you money to start the business. Maybe he wants to just see your progress, or he has some money he's looking at investing into charity, probably. Another way you can get non-interest finance for your business is also through government interventions. So government interventions come around. For instance, the current SAPZ program that is ongoing for jointly funded by Islamic Development Bank and African Development Bank, and to be monitored by IFAD, under the Ministry of Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security. You can register. You can, when they, maybe as part of the activity, you are profiled as a farmer, you are profiled as a potential beneficiary, you can get some credit. Just that this may not be finance, this may not be credit, that's in kind, maybe fertilizer, or maybe form of input, and or maybe a little infrastructure. Now, to quickly delve away from non-interest, you now want to get finances that are, excuse me, that you have to pay interest. Commercial banks do a little of agricultural lending. Uh, Bank of Agriculture in Nigeria or whatever country you are, there may be a bank of industry, a bank of agriculture. And there's, in Nigeria, we have Bank of Agriculture, we have Bank of Industry that all do agricultural lending. So commercial banks are there. Then we have in Nigeria, we have microfinance banks, and I believe other developing countries, uh, the Asian and Latin America, Caribbeans, and also have development uh, microfinance banks that give such kind of lending. So there are microfinance bank or microfinance institutions that give uh, interest-backed finances for agribusiness. Or you are a member of a cooperative, you cannot actually get funds from you. So being a member of a cooperative or maybe a SUSU group, it's like a contribution group, or people you have a little uh, financial association in your local, that is, you have mutual understanding, mutual benefits kind of thing. So you can always get there and get some money. Once you meet their requirement, then you pay with interest. Now, having dealt with all this, let me now talk to how you can now getting money from commercial banks, agri banks, microfinance bank or microfinance institutions. Some of the requirements you will need, or some of the documents, or some of the credentials they will need from you. One, you must have a valid business plan. Most of these financial institutions will want you to come with what? Number one, a valid business plan. You must have your ID, have your idea, you have what you want to do, you are clear cutting, and it is written down. You've put your profitability, you have done all your finances, the financials, and you are sure it's a good business. Now you can seek consultation if you want to write a business plan of any particular enterprise, any particular enterprise you're interested in, or any of the value chain. You can always reach out for consultancy on how to write a viable business plan with empirical figures of the feasibilities, referenceable figures, real-time figures that is current, that has to do with current market realities. Now, you'll need to have a business plan, and this business plan must be bespoke, must be something that will easily sell, even to your investors or anyone. And sometimes the way the world is currently moving, even someone that even wants to borrow you money will want to see where you are putting your money by virtue of seeing your business plan. Another thing the bank may require from you is that they may require that you have open an account with them, right? Most institutions, of course, because they must have where they'll credit it. So you must open an account with them. You open your account, and to open an account, of course, in Nigeria, you must have a valid means of identification. You must have a passport, you must have a referenceable address. So these are some of the things you need. So one of the challenges we have in Nigeria is that local farmers have find it difficult to get profiled into financial institutions. So we now say, okay, why not come in as a group? So we have group and group dynamics that help them to come in. They register as a group, and that way they come and register with either a CSC certificate or a cooperative certificate, so that the funds is given to them as a group in some cases, while in other cases the bank identify those certificate as some of the document that is being filed to open an account with them. The bank also, some of the financial institutions also go further to allow them use their thumbprints and all. So, but that aside, of course, you go through the rudiment of opening an account with any financial institution of your choice that you know will give you credit for your agribusiness. Now, you have an account, you have a business plan, and you must have a good credit score. You must have a good credit score. Then you must have a collateral. So most times, the financial institution will require that you have a collateral, something they can easily fall back to. It may be a form of an asset, maybe a house, maybe a car, maybe a machine, a collateral that they can fall back to in case you default, right? Now, there are also ways you can move around getting some credit if you're getting credit from agri-input dealers. Agri-input dealers can give you credit now in kind, but not with any interest. But you are now buying at a rate that may be higher than the market rate. You always have a way to mop up the money. So those kind of credit, those kind of funds, you may not need to have an account, but they now come and give you. And in the payback now in their collateral is that, okay, you are going to give them uh, some of your input or so when you harvest in addition to the money you may be paying. It just depends on the arrangement you have that work for you. Now back to uh, the get accessing money from the banks. Now I already mentioned number one, you have a business plan, you have an account opened with them, all the requirement to open account. Now you have a good credit score, you have a collateral, then you must be ready to repay. You must be ready to repay. So sometimes they may ask that you have a surety, not in many, just in few cases. Just a guarantor sometimes. So you have that, and you can always access finance. Now, how do I manage repayment? Because one of the things I know farmers or individuals are scared of is, can I pay back the loan? Will I be able to pay? Now, one first thing to know in managing repayment is that the money you are collecting, use it for the purpose that you collected it for. If you secure the loan or secure the facility, use it for the business you collected it for. Because if you collect a loan facility and you branch off to buy, say, a television, or say to repair your television, or say to do another thing that is not directly tied to the reason why you to the agribusiness, you're already losing your money, you're already bleeding your money. So one way to manage your finances, first, you want to start managing repayment is first, make sure that the funds you are collecting is invested in the venture that you set out to get the loan for. Now, find a way not to spend all the money, because most times you get a moratorium for the loan. You can get a moratorium. In case often you get moratorium. So we say if you are going to secure 100,000 and you are going to repay, depending on the payment plan you have, you can out of that loan via a little fund for the first 2 months repayment so that that pressure is taken off from you. Then you invest the rest judiciously in the agribusiness. And you are not going to do friends and family with your business. It means that what I mean by that is that when you are selling your products, when you are selling your produce, you don't mix the business with pleasure so that your friends and your family they pay for every services they will be taking from you. Now, you now have to have a books. Now, I forgot to add this. Some of the things the bank will require from you is that they will not need to see your farm records. They want to see that you have records of what you have been doing, maybe for 6 months or so. They may also want to see your bank statement. If you have an existing bank account, they want to see the bank statement so they can know the amount you are qualified for. I forgot to mention that. So you add that to that, some of the requirements you need. So now in your records, in managing your repayment, you must learn to keep record. That is, you must have a book or a journal where you are writing all the expenditure you are incurring as a result of the expenses accrued to the loan. You are writing it somewhere. How much you have spent, how much you are spending, how much you'll be spending, and the budget that will run the financial cycle for that enterprise. So if it's, for instance, rice, Probably if it's rice, you know that you need 120 days finances. So you have earmarked money for all the input and for all the cultural activities, including weeding till harvesting. If it's pepper, for instance, pepper can be on the field for 8 months, and some pepper are even perennial. They can be on the field for 2 years, depending. So you now have to put break your finance in such a way that you have enough money to spend till you start harvesting. That way, you will not stop your business abruptly because you don't have money to finish it. Because if once you don't harvest, you have problem repaying. So you must plan the finances you are getting in such a way that before the last dime will finish, before you get to the bottom, the last naira or the last dollar, you're already harvesting. Money is already coming back. And you can now negotiate. Of course, based on your negotiation, start repayment that will work. Now, you must now have to find another innovative way within your farm to mobilize other resources. So if your farm is a hectare and you can do comfortably, you're going for 1 hectare of rice and it's going to be 3 months, and probably your repayment is going to be 6 months. Find a way to if you do rain fed and there is the dry season, find a way to make the farm busy and useful during the window period before you go into the irrigated. So that is intensive use of your land. Use best cultural practice and you maximize your land and use it to the best. All right. Now, managing repayment, more to managing repayment. I said that make sure the money you get, you are using it for the purpose which you collected it for. Make sure you keep good records. Make sure you have a cash flow system that makes that will keep your money throughout the production period. Then make sure you start repaying as at when due, so that you can have a good credit score for the next loan facility you may require if you need another loan facility. Now, how will you navigate your way out of borrowing for subsequent investment? Now, now it depends on the goal you've set out for your business. And it is good as you are in agri space that you find a way to take it step by step. If you can do half a hectare, start with half a hectare. When you can do 2 hectares, start with 2 hectares. When you can do 1 hectare, go to 1 hectare. Grow gradually. That way, there will not be shocks that you not be able to absorb. Now, to manage your way out of borrowing, except when, because if you are borrowing, it is good you are borrowing. The purpose of borrowing should be to expand primarily. But if you are borrowing to finance your current structure and you are borrowing over and over, then there's something wrong with your business model. It should be that when you borrow to start this business, maybe you borrow after first 1, 2, 3 cycle, you don't need to borrow again, except you are borrowing to expand. So what do I do? It means that you must now find a way to have a savings culture. Have a savings culture so that that savings will become investment. If you do a hectare of rice, for instance, and you were expended about 1 million, you expended about 1 million, and when you sell, you had about 1.6 or 1.7 or 2 million, it means you have 1 million. What that means now is that your next production cycle, you already have the 1 million you need to use. But of course, we know you have to survive. So instead of going to borrow 1 million again, borrow 500 and take 500 from this your profit to add it to run that production cycle. So if you do that for 3 times, 3 cycles, you can now survive without borrowing again. Because after using 500, you can shift and do 750. You can move and do 1 million. Then your subsequent production, you will not need to borrow. That goes into the same thing for production, the same thing for those in processing, the same thing for someone in marketing, and the same thing for somebody in a supply or input dealership. Now, some financial tips that you can quickly adhere and use for next step as I wrap up this episode is: one, have a saving formula that works for your business. Have a saving formula that works for your business. Get a mentor. someone that has gone through that route before, and get a mentor and get that mentor and look at the model he has applied and see how you can adopt and fit in the one that works for you. So have a savings culture, get a mentor. And number three, tap into your network. Make meaningful relationship that will help you get some things for free. If I'm going to go into rice processing and I have a friend who has rice mill, it therefore means that though I'm going to pay for services, I can now have a credit line with the person. So instead of going to borrow to process, I can have a credit line such that he can borrow and the payment will be made at a later time. He can process for me and my payment will now be made at a later time, taking advantage of the network. So that's a credit line open for me because I have a good relationship and network. Okay, if I'm going to go into maybe marketing, I can now buy, if I have a good network, I can buy a franchise with someone who already has an established whole warehouse and say, okay, give me this portion of your warehouse to put in this. So, number one, have a savings plan. Number two, get mentorship. Number three, build good networks of people of like minds that will be beneficial to your business. Then number four, don't mix business with pleasure. Let friends and family pay for your business. Let girlfriends pay for business. Let wives pay for business. Then another step you want to take is sit down now, x-ray the agricultural value space. Look at what works for you and look at the environment. Look at what you can do in your environment. After looking at that, then you take your biro, take your pen, take your PC, take your laptop, take whatever writing material, wherever you can document and do a business plan. You can also seek expert counsel on how to go about it. And then next step you can do is take advantage of partnership. Take advantage of partnership because two heads, they say, is better than one. So I will stop the video here. I believe you have learned one or two from this. I didn't talk to agricultural insurance in this video. We have an episode where we deal with agricultural insurance because it's also very important you have insurance for your agribusiness. Because when financial institutions want to come in to give you funds, one of the things they may be looking at is this business insured? Just security for their money. So I'll dedicate an episode to talk about insurance. I'll get experts who talk about it so that you know that you can actually take advantage of insurance too in Nigeria to secure your agricultural investment because it will not be good you borrow money to invest in agri and you lose it to climate change. So getting insurance is also very key. Thank you for watching this video to the end. I believe if you have watched this video to this time, you some information, some knowledge, some light has been shared to you, and you know the next thing to do in agribusiness. If you are going to go into invest in agribusiness, you now know where to get funds, you know some things you can do and begin to implement immediately. Please do like, subscribe, because I'll be having more interesting, more informative episode coming, so you don't want to miss it. So do subscribe and also share. Share with your friends in diaspora, share with your family, share with your relatives, share with everybody that this information will be useful to. Thank you very much.